Hey, what's going on, fam? So this is going to be part 2 of part 2.5 of this ADOS versus Pan-Africanism series. It's basically part 2 of part 2. Like I said, this was originally intended to be one video, but I had to break it up. So anyway, let's continue with part 2, and I'm going to put the link in the description box, part 1, but obviously you can just easily go to my channel and find the video also. But just to continue part 2, so I want to start where I left off reading the brother Dwayne Wong's article, and the links will be in the description box of the first video. But I want to pick up where I left off reading his article and continue to respond and wrap up this video and make my final points on the topic. So to continue with the article, where we left off was the brother, we stopped talking at the point where the brother was talking about the ADOS struggle is not an isolated struggle. So starting where we left off, one of the responses to my previous article came from an African American who insisted that African Americans have enough of their own issues to worry about and do not have time to fight for African countries like Togo. This brought to mind this video of Amos Wilson. Then the brother shares a video of the Honorable Dr. Amos Wilson. And then he continues with the article. The point that Amos Wilson is making is that it is foolish for African Americans to stand by and watch as America destroys people of African descent around the world and will somehow believe that Americans will treat African Americans differently. Malcolm X stated, and they're able to take these hired killers, put them in American planes with American bombs, and drop them on African villages, blowing to bits black men, black women, black children, black babies, and you black people sitting over here cool. Excuse me for the coughing. Black people sitting over here cool like it doesn't even involve you. You're a fool. They'll do it to them today and they'll do it to you tomorrow because you and I and they are all the same. This statement should immediately bring to mind the bombing of Black Wall Street in 1921 or the 1985 bombing of Move. A nation which is comfortable ignoring the suffering of millions of black Togolese, Congolese, black Cameroonians, Sudanese, black Zimbabweans is perfectly capable of ignoring the suffering of black Americans. I don't think the members of the ADOS movement understand this well. As Malcolm said, if they do it to our brothers and sisters in Africa, they will do it to us here. In fact, they have repeatedly done it to us here. When I say us, I mean all of us, whether African American or West Indian. The 1985 Move bombing came only 2 years after America intervened in Grenada, dropping bombs and killing some of the black people there. The ADOS movement is a withdrawal from the international struggles of African people. The movement seems to believe that African Americans are going to be able to achieve their liberation independently from other people of African descent, but this is a completely ahistorical approach. Recall that the civil rights movement was concurrent with the decolonization movements in Africa and the Caribbean. The ADOS movement simply does not have any sort of historical precedent to support their contentions. Now, let me stop and respond to this point. Even though first let me stop and say I have a lot of respect for Dr. Amos Wilson. He's one of my favorite scholars, one of my top 5 ancestors, if you ask me. But that doesn't mean he was 100% right on everything either. Now, even though in general, overall, however you want to phrase it, I generally cannot disagree with what Dr. Amos Wilson said and Malcolm X said about how if they'll do it to them there, they'll do it to us here. I can't fundamentally disagree with that because it's true. If they can do it to them, if the white supremacists can bomb black people in Africa, they more than willing to do it in America. I don't put anything past the white supremacists, whether here in Africa, in Europe, Asia, it doesn't matter. I don't put it past them to do it. If they'll do it one place, they'll do it another place. So I don't disagree with that sentiment. I don't disagree with that statement. However, here's my problem with that statement. It's the slippery slope angle that I can see this coming from, because everything you're saying about American imperialism overseas and how they can do it to us here, we can extrapolate that if we want to be fair with this logic and not be hypocritical with the logic. We can extrapolate that same logic to Iraqis. We can extrapolate that same logic to Afghanis. We can extrapolate that same logic to the Syrians, to the Palestinians. So is that what are y'all going to try to lead us next to this global caping, which we know is a failure for black people, especially when we know these Asians and these Hispanics and all these other non-black groups hate us with a passion? As much as I talk about how there's some animosity between us and black immigrants, it's nothing compared to the animosity between us and Asian immigrants and Hispanic immigrants and Arab immigrants. Is that where y'all going to try to take us next, to cape for them? But if you're non-hypocritical with your logic, if they can do it to the Afghanis over there, then they can do it to the black people over here. So now we got to have a we all in this together multiracial coalition. Is that where Pan-Africanism is trying to take us? Towards a white liberal's dream, a trick bag for black people? So we got to watch this talk about how we got to put on the capes for everybody else because of what the white supremacists are doing. Yes, if we can get some political power, should we try to stop that kind of stuff from going on? Yes, we should. But we don't have any political power yet. So we got to prioritize. That's the point of ADOS, at least it is to me. Maybe it's not to others. Hell, maybe it's not even to Yvette and Tone. Maybe that's not what it is to them. But to me, why I personally follow or am co-signing ADOS is because it's about practicality. It's about realism. It's not about these slogans and these feel good and this fake morality. It's not about that. But anyway, let me continue with the article. I know the counter argument will be that just because an idea worked in the past does not mean that it is likely to work in the present. Let's say, for argument's sake, that the ADOS movement is right, and Pan-Africanism is outdated and no longer relevant. What do African Americans do now? Those who support the ADOS movement don't seem to have a real alternative, nor do they seem to understand the Pan-African struggle which is currently taking place. Take, for example, this video by Morpheus Unplugged. And of course, this is where, he interjects my video into the article. And then he continues with his article. The creator of the video states that Pan-Africanists put the entire burden of Pan-Africanism on African Americans. We do not actually, which is why I elaborated on how disunity in the Caribbean has impacted the Caribbean countries. The burden of Pan-Africanism is placed on all people of African descent, and the failure to build a unified front is a failure that hinders all of us. As Walter Rodney states, every African has a responsibility to understand the system and work for its overthrow. Who are these Pan-Africanists who are placing the burden of Pan-Africanism solely on African Americans? So let me stop here and answer his question. Brother, the Pan-Africans, you want me to be specific? The Pan-Africans who are putting the burden of Pan-Africanism on African Americans are you and those like you. Dwayne Wong, I'm going to name one. Dwayne Wong is one of the Pan-Africanists who is putting the burden of Pan-Africanism on African Americans. Why do I say this despite his kind of talk, his attempting to talk around this issue and deflect from this issue? Because regardless of what he says, his actions say that he's putting the burden of Pan-Africanism on African Americans. Number one, this brother is an immigrant, or at least a second generation immigrant. Again, I'm not sure. I read his first article, but I don't remember. I'm only reading the second article, which he doesn't talk about his immigration status. But anyway, this brother is either a direct immigrant himself or a recent descendant of immigrants. The fact that he's in America alone and calling himself a Pan-Africanist is him putting the burden of Pan-Africanism on African Americans. Why? Because of all the places you could be. Well, first let's stop. Let me stop. So let's look at some of the ideologies and some of the things that we commonly hear from Pan-Africanists. Oh, you guys aren't American. You guys are 3/5 of a human. This country has never treated you as an American. These are the talking points of Pan-Africanists, right? So, with that being said, us, the American descendants of slaves, there's a reason why we're in America, because we were born here. We've got generations going back decades, hundreds of years, centuries in this country. That's why we're here. You, an immigrant, of all the black Pan-African places you could be, all the places in the diaspora you could be, Why would you be in America? Seriously, think about that. Right after you just said that the American government doesn't treat Africans as humans, and that's why we shouldn't even call ourselves American. Of all the places you could be, all black nations with black governments that you could be, why are you in America? Why? Why would you be here? And don't give me the this is where you can best fight for the Pan-African struggle. Brother, as I've made in the point I made in my previous video, we don't have any Caribbean or African countries doing what would be appropriate to welcome and provide tangibles to African Americans and incentives for them to uproot their lives and move to other countries. We don't have not one single of these 80-90% black population countries with all black governments, not one extending anything tangible to us. So why would you be here in America when you could be in those countries figuring out a way to get one of them governments to extend some tangibles to the diaspora? Just one. Why would you mock Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore for begging the government for X, Y, and Z? But you don't come to the government, you don't come to anybody, really. You don't come to, and damn, I'm about to have a brain fart. You don't go to any country and ask their government for anything that they should give to their people, to their diaspora. So we shouldn't go to the American government. We shouldn't go to anybody. So we're just supposed to sit here and talk in circles. No tangibles, no nation, no nothing. What are you guys gonna do? Since we can't beg anybody else, any other governments for anything, you guys gonna establish your own government? How you gonna do that? You got an army? You got an infrastructure? You got a military? You got a plan for all of that? You got a plan for hospitals? Do you even have a hospital? Where's the Pan-African hospital? Y'all the ones with so much tangibles. Where is it at? Y'all are here in America to get the American tangibles. And you know, if you take this Pan-Africanism anywhere else, the black people there are not trying to hear it. That's why not one single African country has done anything to extend any kind of refuge to us. You are here in America. You are here in America. Of all the countries that you could be in, you choose to be in America. You choose to be in America talking this crap. If it's so pointless for Yvette Carnell, and this is where I had my brain fart just a couple of seconds ago. If it's so pointless for Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore to beg a government that is never going to help them and never going to look out for them, why would you continue to stay in that country as a Pan-Africanist who knows better? Why would you continue to stay in a white supremacist hellhole country that is never going to do right by Africans? Don't you think you have a better chance of taking that case to a government that has a chance of doing right by Africans? That's an actual African government. So don't tell me that your fight is more effective here in the white supremacist hellhole with a government that doesn't respect us and never will, according to you. And I'm not saying per se that they will one day respect us. That's not my counter argument. I'm just exposing the hypocrisy of the Pan-Africanists. There is no logical reason for them, especially a non-ADOS Pan-African, to be in America. There's no excuse. No excuse. You don't have not one excuse, except unless we tell the truth. It's because you want tangibles. The same thing that ADOS movement is all about, tangibles. That's why you're in America, because you want tangibles. And you know, back in your home country, back in Guyana, back in Nigeria, back in Ghana, the tangibles ain't there like they are in America. That's why you immigrate into America. Because at the end of the day, when we push back all the fake moral talk, it's about tangibles. You want a nice car. You want a nice house. You want consistent electricity. You want clean water. That's why your ass is in America. And no, I'm not saying the stereotype that all African countries don't have clean water and electricity. But let's be real. Several parts of Nigeria don't have consistent electricity. Large sections. Let's be real. Some of the most quote unquote developed African countries that aren't Arab countries, Arab colonized countries, don't have consistent electricity. Not like you do in America. Don't have consistent clean water. Not like you do in America. Let's tell the truth and shame the devil. So when you push back all the fake sloganisms, all the fake unity talk, it comes back down to tangibles. That's why y'all are in America. I will have more respect for these alleged Pan-Africanists talking this to me from African countries. But they all in America. They all in Philly, in Virginia, in Georgia, in California. How you talking this Pan-African talk in the hellholes in the white supremacist hellhole of North America? That we should denounce and distance ourselves from and openly claim we're not American, therefore, thereby, by the way, falling into the trick bag of not getting what's rightfully owed to us. So why would we do that? I'm serious, fam. Why would we do that? This is why we can't take you seriously. All of this talk, all of this fake morality. But at the end of the day, y'all are up in America for some tangibles because you know you ain't getting the tangibles in African countries, and bringing that Pan-African talk to them, it just ain't hitting. It just ain't hitting the spot with them. I'm sorry, it's not. Not after 50, 60 years of them having their own country. It's clearly not hitting the spot. And black people don't have no more time to waste. We don't have the Jamaicans don't have no more time to waste, and neither do we ADOS. None of us do. So the Jamaicans need to handle their business. African Americans need to handle their business. That's what I'm saying at the end of the day. But let me continue with the article so I can wrap up this video. The burden of Pan-Africanism is placed on all people of African descent, and the failure to build a united front is a failure that hinders all of us. Oh, well, so I'm rereading what I've already read. So like I said, where he says, so who are the Pan-Africanists who are placing the burden of Pan-Africanism solely on African Americans? So I just answered it. People like him, people who are coming at African Americans, coming at ADOS, all of a sudden got this energy for ADOS when they squad up. But these Jamaicans been squatting up in America for decades. And I say that with love to Jamaicans. Like, hell, I love Jamaican food. I have Jamaicans in my family. I don't have hatred for Jamaicans. I love Jamaicans. I've been to Jamaica several times. But Jamaicans been squatting up. A lot of them been squatting up since they've been in America. Nigerians been squatting up. And when we talk truth and not lies, nobody has been giving them this smoke. We don't see this energy. Nobody was coming out with think pieces on Jamaicans and Haitians and Nigerians. None of that. Now I will give credit to one brother because I mentioned him in my first video, and I'm going to respond to him again in this video. Omawale Africa did do a video called Nigerianism on Trial, but he did that recently and this was after people like myself have been consistently pointing out the immigrant hatred towards African Americans and the diaspora hatred towards African Americans. Then he decided to come out, and I'm not saying he decided to make the article or make the video because it was a video lecture, make the video solely because of me, or even if he was considering me. He may not have been, but I can tell you, me and him follow each other, and I know I was putting that heat out about some of these immigrants leading up to him making that video. And again, like I said, not saying that he made it solely because of me or in response to me. It's probably a collection of people he saw calling out the diaspora and immigrant hatred towards us. And that's probably why he decided to call it out. So, you know, I'm not saying at all, and I don't believe it was just me, but I'm just saying it was people like me who urged him to say that. This is not something he was saying from the beginning. He didn't do this art, not that I'm aware of. Maybe he did. Maybe he can produce some Nigerianism on Trial lecture he did 10 years ago. But from what I can see, that's not something he's been saying all along. And if we be honest with each other, that's the thing. We lack honesty in these conversations a lot of times. If we be honest with each other, nobody was giving smoke to the Trinidadians, the Jamaicans, the Haitians, Nigerians, South Africans. Nobody was giving them smoke for coming over here and repping their identity. We just embraced it and accepted it. It's just that now African Americans are starting to realize, hey, we can do that too. Especially when we're as an exceptional people as we are. We can do that too. That's what, and now all of a sudden we got think pieces calling us stupid and idiots. And again, they're going to say, no, that's not what we're saying, but that is what you're saying. You're putting out all these points to basically prove how foolish we are for following ADOS. That's what it is at the end of the day. Because when you fail to give any props to ADOS besides I agree with reparations, you're calling the people who follow it stupid. You're doing it in a long, drawn out intellectual way. But that's what you're doing. So people are going to have to put some respect on the ADOS movement. And they're going to have to put some respect on African Americans having the same pride for their heritage that other immigrant groups have. And as a matter of fact, I've seen that as the excuse why immigrants come over here and do better than a lot of African Americans. They'll say it. Hey, the reason why we succeed in America is because we know our lineage, we know our heritage, we know our culture. Well, African Americans are starting to say, well, guess what? We know our culture too. We're going to start having the same self-esteem. We see all these immigrants who brag about how successful they are when they come to America have. We're going to start having that same confidence in our heritage that you guys have in yours. We're not going to run away from that because some hypocritical Pan-Africanists who are in America want to talk some hypocritical babble about denouncing Americanism. And am I saying run around caped up, draped up in an American flag? No, not necessarily. And I'm saying it as a military veteran. I understand the viewpoint. I've even somewhat held the viewpoint in the past that the American flag is a symbol of racism and oppression. It's almost like the Nazi flag to us. And that sentiment is somewhat true. But at the same time, even with that sentiment being true, that I pointed out the other side of it. The black immigrant side of it. When we see people from other nations come with the pride of their country into America. And it's less of a pride of country for ADOS as a pride of heritage, as a pride of lineage. Not so much a pride of George Washington and Abraham Lincoln and these other white supremacists and Donald Trump. It's not a pride of them. It's a pride of our ancestors. It's a pride of Booker T. Washington. It's a pride of Elijah Muhammad. It's a pride of Khalid Abdul Muhammad. That's the pride that we have. But anyway, I digress. Back to the video. So Morpheus Unplugged does not say who the Pan-Africans who are placing the burden of Pan-Africanism on African Americans are. But Morpheus Unplugged does not say because he isn't speaking in vague generalities rather than speaking on specifics. Morpheus Unplugged also seems to think that African Americans are the quote unquote fathers of Pan-Africanism. He mentions Martin Delany, but makes no mention of Delaney's Jamaican colleague, Robert Campbell. He's right. I didn't make a mention of Robert Campbell. You got me there. He also makes no mention of the Pan-African ideology of the Haitian Revolution, which greatly inspired Delany and other Pan-Africanists in America. And again, I give great props and have a lot of pride in the Haitian Revolution. But how is that relevant today? How is that even relevant to the current Haitians today, let alone African Americans? Again, the contrast between Pan-Africanism and ADOS. Pan-Africanism stands in today, in reality, in the now. I mean, not Pan-Africanism, I'm tongue-tied. ADOS stands in the today, in the reality, in the now. Pan-Africanism stands in the past, in fantasies, in slogans, that type of stuff. Morpheus Unplugged also says that it's not Africans leading the Pan-African charge. But let me stop and respond to that. Because it's not, brother. Because even you, calling yourself a Pan-African, you're an American. I don't care where you came from. You're choosing to be in America. The white supremacist hellhole that practices imperialism on African countries across the globe. Where are you choosing to reside? Where are you choosing to reside, brother? You're one of the Americans that's leading the Pan-African charge right now. And until you move to Ghana, until you move to South Africa, until you move to Namibia, you're one of the Pan-African, you're one of the American Pan-Africans leading the Pan-African charge. It's you. Because it's always been us, ADOS, it's always been put on us. Because the people who have whole African governments don't do nothing Pan-African, don't do anything Pan-African. That's the reality. How does the creator explain, how does the creator of the video explain organizations such as African Rising? A lot of the people who are supporting the, let me respond to that. How do I explain the organizations such as African Rising? If you go to the article and you click the link of African Risings, there's a website. But I'm not seeing nothing they're doing that's tangible. The Pan-Africans, the whole thing is they're about action and ADOS is about talk. What's African Risings doing besides talking about injustices? And again, I said the first video that everything that this brother's saying about ADOS can be said about Pan-Africanism, because Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore, they talk about injustices in America, and apparently that's not good enough. That's talk, no action. So what's African Risings doing? Africans Rising doing? What are they doing? Is Julius Malema the head of Africans Rising? Because he's doing something in his country, but again, he's doing that for South Africans. What he's doing at this point is not to directly benefit African Americans. He's not fighting for the right to bring African Americans to South Africa. He's fighting for his land, which he should be. I'm not knocking that at all. But what he's fighting for, what his number one priority at this point is getting his land for his people. And then once he gets his land for his people, then maybe him and the people of South Africa, because they have the ownership over their own land, maybe then they can extend refuge to African Americans because they finally have control of the land. But that's what ADOS is saying, or at least ADOS like me are saying. Once we have reparations, once we have our just due, then maybe we can provide some refuge to South Africans, or maybe we can go over there, take the resources we've gotten from our labor in America and bring it to Africa, bring it back to where it belongs. No one's saying, and I want to, this is at the point where I want to comment on some of the comments that were on the very first video, the very first ADOS over Pan-Africanism video. One of the comments I saw was, why can't Pan-Africanism and ADOS work hand in hand? And that's a good question. And the answer to me is, I don't see any reason why. I don't see any reason why they can't. But if we have to prioritize one or the other, one over the other, my point is that I'm going to prioritize ADOS first. That's my point. But at the same time, I can't see why we can't do both. I can't see why I can't see why ADOS can't be a means to the end of Pan-Africanism, a means to an end. I don't see why ADOS can't be the vehicle that leads to the global Pan-African solidarity that we want to see, that Pan-Africans dream of. Because we lead the charge. Even immigrant Americans, and I want to emphasize the American to expose the hypocrisy, even immigrant Americans like Dwayne Wong lead the charge. Because the African people with African governments don't lead the charge. They don't. So maybe it's up to us to lead the charge, get our tangibles, and then we can start lifting up the rest of the diaspora. Also, the other side effect, and this is going to be the side effect trial by fire, but it is what it is. The other side effect of ADOS is that it's going to force other African people to get on code about their struggles. Because they can no longer depend on stepping on African Americans, or no longer depend on African Americans coming over there to liberate them. And I'm not saying that's what we do or have ever done, is just go over to other places and liberate them. But whatever they're waiting on, maybe they'll see the African Americans stop waiting around and focus on their issues in their countries. And maybe these other people, instead of coming to America and getting tangibles that were built on the backs of American slaves, they'll stay in their own countries and deal with their problems. The same way African Americans, ADOS, have decided to stay in their country and deal with their problems. Maybe we'll inspire them to do that. We'll inspire them, long story short, to hold their own nuts. And then maybe we can have the same concurrent civil rights and decolonization movement we had in the 60s and 50s. But anyway, again, no, these videos are long, but I want to drive my points home, obviously. So let me finish up the brother's article. A lot of the people who are supporting the ADOS movement think that because they aren't aware of the Pan-African organizations that presently exist on the continent, that means that such organizations do not exist. Again, I'm not saying that no Pan-African organizations exist, but what are they doing besides talking? What more tangibles can you prove that you've provided over an Yvette Carnell and an Antonio Moore and a Tariq Nasheed, who have donated to communities, who have done work in communities in America? Because the only thing I promise you, the only thing you're going to show me that these Pan-African organizations have done to help Africans is give some food, give some shelter, the same activism that goes on in America all the time. They didn't topple no governments. They didn't force any new Pan-African laws on the books. Let's be real. They did some community organization stuff, the same stuff that goes on in America and all over the world, that don't move the needle of white supremacy, obviously, because we've been doing it for hundreds of years. And it don't stop white. Hell, the white supremacists donate food and shelter to Africans. So what are you saying here? Don't tell me about no organ. Don't tell me about all this action. But then when I get down to the brass tacks, it's the same talk you accuse ADOS of, except you got 100 years head start on talk and babble, and you still ain't got no action. Not right now. You may have had some action in the past, but that action has fizzled out. That's why we still fighting today. The only people who ain't fighting are immigrants who want to tell us how grateful we need to be. And ain't that ironic? Because they done got to America and got they what? Tangibles that African Americans don't get. Anyway, to continue the video. No serious Pan-Africanist except you, Dwayne Wong. No serious Pan-Africanist is expecting African Americans to lead the Pan-African charge. The only people who think this way are people who don't even participate in the Pan-African movement anyway, so their opinion is just that, an opinion. It's not based on any actual experience within the Pan-African movement or Pan-African organizations. Morpheus Unplugged is driven to support the ADOS movement based on some of the negative things that Africans have said about African Americans. Let me stop there. Well, no. Let me not stop there. Let me finish reading this point, then I'll respond to it. So, as I say, he says, I'm driven to support the ADOS movement based on negative things that the Africans say about African Americans. And then he continues. As I noted in my last article, I am aware that some of the immigrants come to America with negative views of ADOS. The Pan-African movement has always been about working to overcome that division. Now let me stop here. So this brother says he's aware that some immigrants come to America with negative views. I would propose that it's a majority, maybe even if it's just a slight majority. I would propose it's not some, it's a majority of them. Because let me tell you how I started to see and why I became so upset by the vitriol that Africans and some Caribbeans have towards African Americans. When I was on this Pan-African tip that these same brothers are still on, obviously, I started following because I would not only study and read about what's going on with black people in America, but I would read about South African issues. I would read about Caribbean issues. I would read about West African issues, East African issues, North African issues. I would read about and study and keep up with the news of all of those countries. I would, hell, sit on YouTube and watch the African news networks. I wanted to know not just what was going on with my people in America, but what was going on with my people all over the globe. And that led me on Twitter to start following, to get further news and get more perspectives, to start following a lot of Africans, continental Africans, following a lot of Caribbeans in the Caribbean. I started following these guys on Twitter. And as soon as I started following all these Africans and Caribbeans on Twitter, my timeline started getting jam-packed with attacks on African Americans. And I'm like, whoa, bro, where is this coming from? What's going on here? I'm talking about my timeline just started getting flooded with this vitriol. And that's when I started to see the light. And I started to say, brothers, something's wrong here. Because this is not what Pan-Africanism was sold to me as. This is not the impression that I was given. There's something else going on here. And that's when I started to face reality. And that's what I'm hoping these kind of videos will help Pan-Africans do. But I know they're stubborn. And I know they just want to be right even when they're wrong. So they're probably going to stay stuck in Pan-Africanism. But hey, you can't say I didn't try. But anyway, continuing the video. The Pan-African movement has always been about working to overcome that division. So let me stop there. And this is where I want to interject the brother Omowale Africa in this article, because even though this isn't his article, if you read his article, there's a key point that he makes in the article that I want to focus on. And that's that where he draws a comparison between MAGA, right-wing white supremacists, and ADOS. And he tries to use Ann Coulter, who is, I will admit, is a open flaming white supremacist. Flaming white supremacist. She gave props to ADOS. And the brother Omowale Africa tried to use this as some kind of proof that right-wing white supremacists and ADOS are two sides of the same coin, and therefore that's the fundamental flaw of ADOS because it's playing in the white supremacy. Brother, if we want to talk about who's giving props or who sounds like who, because that was the other thing, we sound like Black MAGA or we sound like the white right-wing white supremacists. Brother, when you talk about this, overcoming this division, overcoming this unity and love, you sound like a white liberal. And any Pan-Africanist worth their salt knows the American political system is a trick bag, and the white liberal and the white Republican are the same thing. So, brother, if we are Black MAGA, you're Black Hillary. You're Obama. Obama's the result of Pan-Africanism because he came to America and married him a white woman, but he's a Kenyan immigrant, or he's the son of a Kenyan immigrant. That's what you are. If we're Black MAGA, you're Barack Obama. Which is worse? I can give or take either. Hell, I might rather take MAGA because hell, at least we know the deal. With the kind of police brutality that was going on under Obama, at least we know the deal with Trump. Hell, it feels like, I might be wrong, but it feels like, hell, the police brutality might have scaled back since Trump got in office. Ain't that sad? So come on, brother. With these weak arguments that just because some white supremacist agrees with one of our points, that makes us the same as them. Because if that makes us the same as them, then everything, all these love and unity trick bags, this slippery slope about what American imperialism is doing overseas, that can lead us to caping for everybody, even these anti-black groups of people. You sound like a white liberal. And any Pan-Africanist worth his salt knows, if anything, the white liberal is worse than the white Republican, because the white liberal is more deceptive. So come on, bro. Let's not go there with them kind of arguments, especially when y'all are putting in stuff in this article. And that's why I wanted to point out that sentence in this article about how we work to overcome disunity. This is this white liberal stuff. We don't have time for that. We don't have time for them slogans and that feel good talk. If we want to overcome disunity, we can go to the Democrat Party. They all about unity and love and resist hate. They all about that. We don't need Pan-Africans for slogans. We don't need y'all for that. We got plenty of Democrats offering that already. Plenty of white Democrats. And the white Democrats have more tangibles in their hands, even if they don't give it to us. They got more tangibles in their hands than the fake Pan-Africans. So come on. Let's not do that. Let's not reach and compare ADOS to MAGA unless we're gonna look at how much Pan-Africans sound like white liberals. With this love and unity talk. These slogans that mean nothing. As Pan-Africanists, we are working to overcome problems like this rather than retreating back into the national identities which were forced on us. Moreover, there are immigrants like Opal Tometi that have involved themselves in the struggles of ADOS. Instead of highlighting only the immigrants with hostile views towards ADOS, why not also highlight the fact that there are immigrants who come to America and do participate in the ADOS struggle? And I am aware that many who support the ADOS movement are not very fond of the Black Lives Matter movement, of which Tometi is a co-founder, but thus far the BLM movement has had a bigger impact on shaping the conversation around ADOS, around racial injustice in America than the ADOS movement has. So the ADOS movement should be taking notes from BLM. So let me stop here. This point in the article, this brother sounds desperate. And I don't know whether or not he realizes how badly he stepped in it by bringing up Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter is a white supremacist, love and unity, march in the streets, scream, beg, and cry trick bag that talks about no tangibles, that when you go to their website, it's about everything but black people. It's about women. It's about LGBT. It's about intersectionality. It's about everything but freedom from white supremacy. Just about. When you go to the article, it's a bunch of white liberal rhetoric on there. Nothing about reparations, nothing about tangibles, nothing about anything real. So you're going to sit up here and present to us a white supremacist funded distraction project, energy draining project that is meant to redirect and misdirect the anger and the passion of African descendants in America. I'm gonna start sounding like you Pan-Africanists. Now, the Africans, the global Africans, the descendants of Africa, the children of Africa in America, a program designed to mislead them, to divert their energy into a do-nothing trick bag, into more tokens and slogans. We're gonna have a conversation around race. We don't have time for no more conversations about no race. If you're still a white supremacist at this point, there's no redeeming of you. We don't need to have a conversation around racial injustice. We need protection from the white supremacists who conversations ain't worked with after 500 years. So, brother, you really made a mistake by bringing up Black Lives Matter and trying to give that props over ADOS. Some white supremacist trick bag. And that's your props to American immigrants. And that's the point. I want to say something about the brother in his first video, Dwayne Wall. He talks about how Tariq shouldn't be pointing out the Haitian ancestry of someone like Roland Martin. It's fine for him to disagree with Roland Martin, but he shouldn't be pointing out Roland Martin's Haitian ancestry. And I'm gonna be honest, when I first saw Tariq tweet that about Roland Martin, as much as I don't like Roland Martin, I agreed. I was like, whoa, bro, I don't know about bringing that up. I'm not sure about bringing that up, brother. I'm not sure of the connection there. I'm not sure if that's proven anything, that just because he happens to be Haitian, that's what makes him a coon. Because, I mean, what about all the American coons who got, American ancestors? That was my thought. I'm being 100% honest here. Like I said, I'm not going to sit up here and agree with every single point that the brother makes. But then even with this point, here's where I came back to being somewhat okay with it, with what Tariq was pointing out. It's the same thing that this brother Dwayne Wong just pointed out. Why is it that the top Boule puppets can all be traced back to some kind of recent immigrant lineage? Why is that? Why is that all the misleaders in black society today, not every single one of them, but why is it all the prominent ones, or the majority of the prominent ones, we can seem to be able to trace back to some kind of immigrant lineage? Why is the Roland Martins? Why are the Opal Tomedis the ones leading these white supremacist, fake liberal trick bags against African Americans? Why is it them? Why is it always them? Brother, you stepping in it. You're proving Tariq Nasheed's point by bringing up Black Lives Matter. It's getting the articles gets more and more disastrous as you read it. This kind of desperation, Black Lives Matter, really, brother? Really? Anyway, continuing with the video. As I explained in the previous article, the Black Lives Matter movement has garnered more international support from people in the Caribbean and Brazil. And what is it doing for them? Has it reduced the police brutality in Brazil? Not that I've seen. But anyway. A lot of Americans did not like Marcus Garvey simply because he was Jamaican, but Garvey didn't withdraw from the African-American struggle because a few individual Americans didn't like him. Garvey stated, "My enemies in America have done much to hold me up to public contempt and ridicule, but they have failed. They believe that the only resort is to stir up national prejudice against me, that I was not born within the United States of America." Garvey's response to these critics was, "So I was born in Jamaica, so it was no fault of mine. It was because the slave ship which took me to Jamaica did not come to American ports. That's how some Negroes of America were not born in the West Indies." And then he basically, the next part is he quotes Dr. John Harry Clark, who's basically saying the same thing. So I'm going to skip that part. You can read that, but he's basically saying the same thing Marcus Garvey said. But anyway, to respond to that, I mean, look, again, I have a lot of respect for Marcus Garvey. I appreciate what he did for us. I appreciate his sacrifice. I appreciate his struggle. But as I said in the first video, let's not try to separate Marcus Garvey from African Americans to prove our point. Marcus Garvey became who he was in America. He became who he was with an African American following, not a Jamaican following, not a Nigerian following, not a Liberian following. An African American following is what made Marcus Garvey what he was. Because if we all pretend to be about the collective like we all do, ADOS says they're about a collective, Pan-Africans say they're about a collective, then we can't give the props to one person and ignore the collective. We can't do that. That makes us hypocrites. Who was Marcus Garvey's collective that made him who he was? Who was the main collective? Of course, you want to say, oh, it was all Africans across the globe. But who was he working with day to day? African Americans. Nobody else. On a day-to-day, daily basis, I'm talking about from the time he wakes up in the morning to the time he goes to bed at night. The people he was opening shop with and closing shop with was African Americans. So let's not do this. Again, historically, every African leader you point out, we got ties back to America. They all got ties back to America. Kwame and Nkrumah, all of them. You can somehow, some way, directly or indirectly, lead their lineage, the beginning of their momentum, the beginning of whatever you want to call it, the beginning of what made them the figures they were in African history. You can trace it to America. We are an exceptional people, and that's not to shit on anybody else. That's not to denigrate any of our brothers and sisters. But that's to say that we're not gonna run around with this shame of who we are anymore. that day is done. African Americans are becoming aware of the special and exceptional people they are. Yeah, I'm quoting Dr. Claude Anderson, and if you don't like it, whatever, I don't care. Because I know the Pan-Africans, they're attacking Dr. Claude Anderson left and right too. That's my brother. That's one of my elders. He's right. We're an exceptional people, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's not saying other people are inferior. That's not saying other people are lesser than us, but we're an exceptional people. That's the reality. The ADOS movement is trying to position itself in opposition to Pan-Africanism, which in my view is detrimental to the African American struggle, because the ADOS movement does not offer any concrete plan for ADOS. And again, I spent this whole video and the last video asking this brother for the tangibles that he's alluding to. He talks about I speak in vague generalities. Brother, you speaking in vague generalities, because all you're doing is accusing ADOS of having no concrete plan while you have no concrete plan. Because if you have it, present it. Show me the tangibles. Again, brother, you got a 100-year head start. So I'm expecting, I got a little bit higher standard of you. You should have a little bit higher standard of yourself. The way you're talking down on ADOS, you should have a higher standard for yourself, let alone me having one for you. I got a higher standard for you, bro. I need to see what you've already done. I need to see what y'all have already done. I want to see what endures today, besides some symbolisms and some conferences. I want to see what endures today. What's tangible? Where's the impact? And again, and also let me address this part. Nobody, the brother, especially in his first article, the article that I'm not reading from, he talks about how there's a misunderstanding and we don't really, and even he alludes to it a lot in this article, how we don't understand and we only point out the negatives of global Africans, and we don't look at the positives, and we don't understand the positives of Pan-Africanism. We ignore the accomplishments, and we ignore this, that, and the other, or we don't, and this is leading to the misunderstanding and the misconceptions. Well, brother, here's where your misconception is about ADOS. Your misconception is that ADOS people are trying to somehow be in opposition to Africans liberating themselves, and in opposition to Caribbean people getting their just due and liberating themselves. You talk about how we don't read this book and that book, and we don't engage in this Pan-African struggle and that Pan-African struggle. Well, brother, your failure to read certain books about the state of black people in America, your failure to read certain articles from Yvette Carnell and Tone Talks, your failure to listen to some of their videos has caused you to not hear them when they say they are not in opposition to any of these people, that they are not here to see these people suffer. That's not their goal. They're not against these people. All they're saying is that when you come here, you don't have right to the same rights, because you don't have the same lineage as African descendants of slaves, because you are a voluntary immigrant. Even if you are a quote unquote African immigrant, one of the diaspora, one of the children of Africa, whether you're coming from the Caribbean or from the motherland. You're a voluntary immigrant. If you aren't, your parents are, or your grandparents are. That's the difference between us and you. How can you claim a grievance against a country you voluntarily immigrated to? That's their point about the political feasibility of some of your Pan-African talk. That's why they're against putting immigrants in the mix, especially when a lot of immigrants, half the time, like I said, they're the main ones against reparations, because they do all that coon talk. You niggas need to pick yourselves up. I came from the third world country, and I now have big house and big car. You niggas don't need handout. You need to work hard like us Nigerians, like us Jamaicans, like us Haitians. You need to work hard. That's what half of them come over here and say anyway. So let's be real. That's what myself in particular is asking for. Some reality, some truth, some tangibles, not slogans, not trick bags. And that's really my main objection to what the proponents of the ADOS movement are arguing. If the ADOS movement has a better program than what the Pan-Africanists are doing, then let them bring it forward. But until then, I'll continue to defend and uphold Pan-Africanism because it is the only movement which has produced results for African people, including ADOS. So anyway, fam, that's part 2. We'll see how long that is. Wow, 50 minutes. So that's a long time, brother, or over 50 minutes. But anyway, hey, I got it all out. So I addressed it all. That's the end of this. And again, to the brothers and sisters, why can't we coexist? I don't know. Maybe we can. Maybe we can. But not while Pan-Africans are doing all this trolling and not being open to what ADOS are saying. Not while they're not admitting to their hypocrisy and everything they say about ADOS, not a 2-3-year-old movement, not producing tangibles, can be applied to over 100-year movement times 10. Everything you say about us can be applied to you times 10. But when we talk about political momentum, the non-tangibles, who's producing the non-tangibles right now? It's ADOS. When we talk about momentum, when we talk about getting on code, it's ADOS producing that right now, not Pan-Africans. Y'all are stuck on Facebook groups and YouTube and individuals on Twitter. It's like 5 of y'all on Twitter. Let's be real. Let's be real. And until y'all start being real, y'all are going to continue to just be bitter from the sidelines while ADOS makes moves. And if we falter, at least we tried. We didn't stick to fake sloganisms while being hypocrites living in the white supremacist hellhole of North America. We tried to make something of America. We tried to make it a better place since this is our home. Because clearly Africa ain't our home because they ain't welcomed us yet. After 500 years. They ain't welcomed us back home yet. So clearly that ain't home. We're home. The ADOS are home. You hypocrites ain't. So y'all need to start packing. Anyway, that's another video. Like, share, subscribe. Peace.